Alright, well, welcome back. You can see our next order of business here is the fact that, yep, not quite enough battery to do anything. So, we're going to take her apart and look at ways to add charging terminals. First order of business is going to be taking off this side plate cover here. We got an 8mm socket, and we're just going to take this off. See what we find underneath. There's our screw. There we go. Set that in a safe spot. Come over to our other side. Where's she at? There she is. Set that in a safe spot. Verify they're the same length. Good. Nothing to it. Alright, next one's going to be this one here. Alright, the first two were 8mm. I believe that's 10. Be right back. Alright, back with 10mm. I'll get the seat off of here. It's not too tight. Wish I had an extra hand. Alright, maybe we'll grab a socket, it'll be a lot easier. I'm gonna ratchet. Oh, maybe not. Coming off. Alright, ratchet makes it a little easier. Well, it's done in no time. Oh, note to self. It appears. There's a note on the back side. Yep, right up here. Anywhere without a wrench. Alright. The bolts on the seat are a 10mm socket on the outside and a 12mm wrench on the underside of the fender. Now I have those off. Crap falling everywhere. Hopefully she'll come loose. Any other bolts on there? I didn't think there was. Come on. There we go. Liberated her. I'll just set that over here for now. See fingerprints everywhere. Alright, there's what we were looking for. 2 terminals. I'm gonna work up a couple terminals on a wire, and we'll get to hooking up some remote terminals for charging. I'll meet you over at the bench for soldering some wires. Alright, I read online that some of these batteries might be lithium polymer, so I need to take this off and check, and lo and behold, PB, lead acid. We're good. Alright, so here we are in this step. We got about 8.5 inches of the 10 gauge wire. I don't particularly like crimp-on connectors, so I bought these crimp-on connectors so I can put the screw through the hole and hold it on tight. What we want to do is use your needle nose pliers and hold that flat, and grab this out near the end and just pull it. And you'll end up with a nice connector like this that you can solder on. Alright, we will take this. This is the way I found to do it. Just hold this here. You can see that the metal is actually pretty deep in there. So just grab it near the outside edge. Pinch a little. Give it a little pull. There you go. There's our connector. Alright, so here we're back. We've already got the red lead done. I went ahead and pulled the plastic off 2 more terminal brackets. We want our black wire to be the same length. About 8.5 inches of wire here. Or 8 1/4, I mean. So right there. Cut that off. That can go away. Give ourselves about that much. Don't need too much. Probably hear the police scanner in the background. I like to hear what's going on while I work through the night here in the Detroit area. Seems like the damn thing goes all night long. Never stops. Crime going on everywhere.
2100 south. Clear 530.
Alright. Don't need that anymore. Put this in there. Leave ourselves far enough away from the screw terminal head so the screw can go on there good. Give ourselves a little bit of a pre-tension crimp. That looks good. Go ahead and do the other end while we're at it. Make sure our spacing is right. Give us a little crimp. Good. Alright. Ready to get the solder going. Same as before, it's going to take a little while. As I said before, the soldering iron is set at 480 degrees. So she'll heat up pretty quick. Touching both the copper strands here and the bracket. Let's see if I can. Where am I at? There I am. Okay, maybe slide this right a little bit. Okay, so we should be touching both the copper and the bracket. Let's see if the not quite. Copper's warm enough.
Starlight Squad 2 from dispatch to head 126 and drive.
There we go. Feed it in on the bracket through the seam there. So I can penetrate the copper. I'll probably turn down the radio for a sec. Just keep feeding her in here. It's a really thin strand. I don't know if you can see that. Really thin, but it melts quick. We'll keep giving her some. This has got lead in it, so I should turn on my fan here. Get that blowing out of my way, so I don't have to blow it myself. Got my little PC fan here that I rigged up to the power supply so I can blow the fumes out of the way. She's flowing in there good now. Penetrating the bracket real good. Should be fine. Clean off our tip a little bit. Can't see what I can do in there, but over here, I got this little, it's a brass, I don't know, there we go, clean off the tip, put the camera back up here. Alright, to the other end. There we go. It's penetrating the bracket now. There we go, it's flowing on the other side of the clamp there. Beautiful. That'll work. Clean off the tip again. There we go. Looks pretty good. The other end, equally as well. Good. Now we've got both black and the red. Alright, so if you've ever played around with hydraulic brake lines or steel brake lines, you'll find it a pleasure to work with copper because it's much softer. As I got it from the hardware store, the previous person really boogered up the end from where the piece I got. This was refrigeration copper. It's a little bit thicker and smaller than some of the other, but we should be able to put a number 8 screw or number 8 machine screw in here with a nut. You rotate it a couple times, turn it down a little bit tighter so the blade keeps going deeper. Won't take much. Be through this in no time. It's a bit thicker walled. This is a low profile cutter. You use it for tight places, especially on the vehicle where you have very little clearance of already installed lines. I have a bigger cutter somewhere that's a little bit easier to handle and hold on to, but it doesn't matter. There we go. There's our piece that came off. There's our cut. We're gonna put this in here. Which hole was it? Quarter? I think it was a quarter. Hold on here. Yeah. So we only want this to really stick up a little bit. That ought to work. Tighten her down. Loosen that one up a little bit and get this one a little more. Just gotta hold it. We really don't want to crimp it. We're putting a little flare end on it. I'll show you here in a second. Get that in there. Oops. Using it offhand. Here we go. Get it set up here. Okay. Now as we see how that's going to look on the camera here. Get that focused in there. Just turn this down. Start spreading that end. Turn this down as far as it'll go. Back it off. Looks like it slid a little bit. I didn't have it quite tight enough. I was afraid of squishing it. give it a little more. Copper's soft, it's pretty easy to work with. That's better. I don't really want to flatten this off. This piece is a little bit too long to work with under the camera here. Get that flattened down all the way around. Not bad. Could have been better. It's on a little bit of an angle, I think. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so that ought to work. Basically, we got a nice flat surface to build a screw down, put our screw down against. This, I don't know how to hold it here. This is the one I did earlier. You see that we grab our terminal here. This will fit on there good and flat. But we want this side to be against the fender, so I took it to the grinding wheel and flattened out that side a little bit so this edge can come against it. That's going to end up fitting good there. That'll be a good connection, I hope. Our next step is to cut this so that maybe it's about 1 inch long. That's what I'm thinking. Make it about 1 inch long, and I've got some 1 1/4 inch screws to try and use. Let's see here. I'm gonna grab it right about there. Where'd that cutter go? There it is. Loosen that a little bit so we can get it in there again. Hold this. What's this garbage Sunday morning radio music? Not music, talk show. Oops. Bumped into the wind chime there. Alright, so let's see. That should be 1 inch. So go a little bit further. Measure twice, cut once. That should be good. Give ourselves a little bend in it so we can get a good grip on her. Take too long. I don't like silence. I should have changed the radio station instead of turning it down. Prefer music. There we go. There's that piece. She's good to go. Cut the other end. Same way. Loosen this a bit. Put her in. Tighten her down. See if I got about an inch. A little bit short. Ultimately, we want to have some space there to be able to hook our charging clamp. Inch ought to be good. That'll work. Starts to get easier, really easy to turn. You know, you need to tighten that against the blade a little bit more. Go every turn or two, really starts cutting in. There we go. There's the second half. There we go. Got two of them good and flat. I'll ground a little ledge off of that one and we'll be good to go. Alright, I apologize for a couple of those video sequences where I zoomed in and the area went out of view from the camera. What I've tried to do for myself is set up these couple of solder rolls here to know that as long as I'm in between those two, I'm on camera. So anyhow, here's our current workpiece. I'm going to, you can see the hole lines up good. I've clamped it with these clips. I'm hoping I can just set my soldering iron down in there and get them both warmed up and run some solder on there and connect the two together for a good strong connection. We'll see how it goes.
History of cardiac problems, section 15, time out 634.
Oh man. Yeah, how am I going to use this solder? Well, okay, we'll just use the hammer as the guide. We're working here in the center. Figure out which hand to hold it, all this crap in. A little bit on the tip. Get her good and tinned up. Set her right in there. Let's give it a minute and see what happens here.
Yes, sir. That's your radio. I'll be clear. Down board. Propane drill user once around San Marco. Drill user one off.
There we go. Yeah, we're starting to get her. We'll try it this way. It'll flow a little bit better if we can get some solder in there.
And round flow comes resend
It
it.
should go in between the two.
This time, ladder one's around. Ladder one around.
I should have fluxed it, I don't know. Let's see here in a second. the steel hard enough, we know the copper will flow. Oops. There goes that clamp. Alright, looks like maybe the best way to do this is to try and heat up the copper. And get a good layer of solder on there. Consistent layer on here.
You can also text your vote to 4WRIF. We also have the Rip Rock Girl Tour Bus back.
34 radio. Units will be clear.
I also saw them on Friday in downtown Detroit.
Down 4.
Great group of ladies. So if you get the chance to go out and meet them in person, they'd love to convince you to vote.
Give me 4 base.
Okay, almost there. We don't have to worry about filling up the hole right now, because we're going to put the bracket that terminal on there. And we'll just stick the terminal with the soldering in the hole. And that's how I got the other one to work off camera. A little more on there. Run down a tube, not a big deal. Alright, there we go. Grab our black.
Units are clear.
We can
Down 4.
do like this.
Engine 5, Squad 5 from Fire Dispatch for a 37-year-old male having difficulty breathing at St. Harvest Church, 30200 Shaner, 30200 Shaner, run number 5038. 5038, time out at 649.
Starting to get warm on the wire, so the bracket should be getting good and warm. Just waiting to see the solder melt. Yep, there it is. Hold it against there, good. Blow her off. Getting fucking hot on my finger. There we go. Should be good. Alright, so here we are back on the bike. What you want to do is look down in here, right? You can look from inside. Look for where you can see light through there. A decent place to cross through. You're just going to pass the wire up through there. Pass the terminal up through there. Okay? Because eventually what we're going to do is this end is just going to go underneath that screw right there. And then we'll come back here, we'll tuck this back under here, and we're going to end up putting a hole right here for the screw, and it'll be underneath the white plastic eventually. But then what we'll really have is hanging right here. It'll be just like this. Essentially, we'll have a terminal like that. It'll be sticking underneath, sticking down. The surface is here. It'll be sticking down a good inch, inch and a quarter, and that's where you'll be able to hook your clamp. Beautiful thing about this is when you look at the fender here, the tire is really only here. So in this area, here and here, we're outside of the tire ever being able to hit these. It's never going to be in the way, never going to get hit, no matter the suspension travel or anything. The tire will never hit these. So we'll have one here, the red, which corresponds with the plus. The minus will follow the same way here, underneath there, come out. We'll feed it underneath, and we'll connect it here. We'll have a screw and a washer on top. We'll put the copper, which already has a soldered wire on it, underneath, and then sticking out the bottom, a nylon nut. Show you that in a minute. Alright, so we have the red lead already run. I want to look for the right place to run the black lead. Look over here, we take our handy dandy flashlight, shine it under there, and that's kind of showing us where the biggest hole is, the biggest place to be able to put the wire. It's right there. We know that the seat bracket is going to go here. No, there? Yeah, seat bracket is going to go here. We just want to be able to come under here somewhere with the wire, so it'll be able to come out here, follow along here, and come up under this edge. Be tucked in nicely behind the bracket and nearly be invisible. So, again, I'm going to look from this side. See, we've got a few places there. Turn our flashlight off. Take your wire lead. Excuse me. Put a little bend in it. It's a little easier to snake through. There she is. Feed her through. Give her a pull. Pull her through, a little tight there. Let's see here. We really don't want it on this side anyway. We want it to be under there. Maybe the right way to go is that way. Yep. So we'll feed her through a little bit more. Alright. So here we go. We'll be able to pull this around. Give her a bend. She'll be able to be seated down there on the screw. And then let's spread this out here. We'll just come under here. Get mounted right about there. Which, if we look from underneath, that position will be right there, right where we want it. No travel's going to hit it. The tire's not going to hit it. It'll be clear. Once we got our screw through there and the nut on there, we'll attach our charging leads or battery tender or whatever you have there anytime. Battery tender will be good, but if you need to charge it because you didn't put the battery tender on it, that'll work too. That's going to be perfect. So what I'm going to try and do is take this solder, just stick it in that hole. Just enough to keep that nut suspended. I get this in there. There we go. That should be able to keep the nut up while we back out the screw.
She's touched and breathing but not responding. Section 31.
Alright. So now what we want to do is line up this where it was. Place this on top of it. Line up the holes, put them in the screw, and tighten down the nut. As long as the nut stayed up high, we'll be able to grab it with the screw. Alright, that worked. Solder held the nut up. Able to put in the screw, grab the nut under this bracket, the original factory bracket, and our new terminal. Wires fed nicely under the frame over here. We'll be able to tuck her under. Bring her up underneath. Put our screw right here, so coming next. Alright, so based on what we experienced on the other side, let's look here. We can see that our nut is right there. Instead of trying to do it later, let's just go ahead and stick something underneath the nut right now. Pull it over. Hopefully it's stiff enough to stay there. Alright. Roll of solder stuck underneath the nut. I'll go ahead and pull that screw out. Booger up the threads. Alright.
The subject is currently suspended, indefinite, showing a prior back in
Flat solder stays there. Hold the nut up. Okay, it's about to fall. And what we need to do is line up this with that hole. As long as everything stays in place, should be able to just put the screw in there and tighten her down. Need an extra hand, so I'm going to put down the camera and put the screw in there. Be right back. Gotta have tight connections, otherwise shit happens later. Looks like we're good. And pull the solder out. Feed our wire back down a little bit more. It's all beneath where the seat will go. We're good. On the outside, we'll tuck it under. So the screw got down, terminated down good. Our wire follows out right there. It'll be beneath the seat bracket. The seat bracket comes on the outside here. All the plastics are out here. This will tuck up under here and be with a screw right there. All completely under the white plastic. Will be good. Alright, for my next step, I've got this 832 by 1.5 inch long screw, machine screw, with a washer on it. That's going to go in the top here. It'll go through this piece that we already made up from the bottom side, followed by a washer and then a nylon lock nut so that it doesn't vibrate free. Alright, so when I first tried to put a screw down into this here, there's some solder that had dripped down in there. And so I ran an 11/64 drill bit through it, nice and clean. Took the lead out real easy. Did that in both of them. And then also used 11/64 drill bit right here to put me a hole in the fender. And that's where we'll be putting the screws in next. Alright, so everything's installed here. Follows along just under the bar. Goes along the, which will be underneath the seat bracket and all completely underneath the white plastic. And then back to the fender. On this side, same way. Under the bar, back and around. Have a look-see underneath. There's the two taps. On the negative side, you won't have to worry about coming in contact with anything because everything's grounded anyhow. But there's ample space for your clamp. Same here on this side. Tire will never come in contact with it. Should work out pretty good. Wanted to give it a try before closing everything back up, but it's definitely working. My battery was dead before we started this operation, so it's working. Should work out well in the future, whether I go with a battery tender or whether I just maintain it with my car charger here every now and then. But definitely works.